All right. I think it's time to get the show started, don't you think? All right, folks, this is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Time to get the show on the road. Let's get going. Hey, and good morning, everybody. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you each and every day, Monday through Friday, to talk to you about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And when you think of Las Vegas, folks, what do you think? Think living local, right, folks, and the return of cool. And I'm your guy coming here. And today's Friday, which is very cool. I'm very excited about it. We've got a really special show today that we're going to talk about. Because it's talking about a part of town that we've all been watching the transformation happening, but really, do you understand what is going on with the downtown area of town? And so today we're going to talk about the project Enchilada. So we're going to talk about that today, and hopefully we'll give you some insights into it. That way, when your friends come into town, instead of you going straight to the strip, which is still Las Vegas. I mean, I guess technically it's still Las Vegas, but the real Las Vegas is actually downtown. I mean, it's really downtown. It stops at about Sahara. So, anyways, we've gone through that before. I want to welcome all of our friends who are joining us today on Facebook. You're joining us on YouTube. So, if you're joining us on YouTube, folks, be sure right below me here that you're actually, hit that little buzzer right there so that you get to be updated. You subscribe to our channel. We really want to have you as a part of the community. And boy, there's people really want to get a hold of me early this morning. So what happens, folks, early in the morning is people are on Facebook and all over the place really want to get a hold of you. So they send you notes as soon as they know you're online, which is very humbling. Thank you so much for doing that. But half the time it just drives me really crazy and stuff, which is even cooler too. I'm Sherman Ray, folks. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, and here's the cover for Livin in Vegas magazine. Got Sammy on the cover, folks. Sammy is on the cover. He is I'll tell you, the byline on this is the guy who was the soul in the Rat Pack. And we'll talk a little bit about that. I think we'll talk about that a little bit before we talk about downtown area. But that's the cover for the Livin in Vegas magazine. You'll get to check that out. And, of course, all the other articles that are in the magazine about the Rat Pack and the return of cool, which we've been talking about a lot lately. So you want to definitely keep that in mind. Also, we produce a magazine called Livin Weekly Magazine. I've got a new one coming out today. This was actually all week long we ran this magazine. Women in Vegas that are on the rise. And if you've been watching any kind of sports, we got the hotness here in Vegas. There's no doubt about it. Let's talk about that really quick, as a matter of fact. We'll take a break real quick. Then we'll come back. We'll talk about the girls that are doing some fantastic stuff. I think you're going to just love it. So anyways, we'll be back in just a second, okay? Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Okay, here we do that again. Uh-oh, that's not going to work. Okay, nope, still not going to work. So we're having some technical difficulties. So those of you who are with us on Monday know that we were suffering with some technical difficulties. Not just a few, a lot. And so it looks like the gremlins are still here. And so you just witnessed it. I do a lot of the control boarding and the graphics and stuff right here in front of me. And I have a mouse. So I've got a mouse right here. And it seems to me like I just changed the battery in the thing because it looked like it was going kind of crazy. And I probably grabbed a battery that was dead. So I hope it still works here today, folks, because I'm having some issues here today. So let's talk a little bit about Livin Weekly Magazine. And, the Las Vegas. So on the front cover here is Sandra Douglas Morgan. Many of you know she is the new president for the Raiders, and which is just fantastic. She's from El Dorado High School, and was former council for North Las Vegas. She was a board member for the control board, gaming control board, first African American uh, person who's led the gaming control board, and now she's the first the first president of an NFL team who is of African American descent and a female. If that's a whole mouthful, I'll be glad when this is all over with. We can just go say, hey, guess what? She's just a hot property that was picked up by the Raiders. Okay, so it's hard to say. She's done a fantastic job so far. She's doing the media thing. I think she was on the Today Show this morning because this is national news. There's never been an African American female woman who's been the president of an NFL team anywhere. And we just happened to get it. So that was one person. Also in this magazine today, we've got stories about other women here in Las Vegas because it's not just Sandra who's done some things, and we've got Becky Hammond. We've got a couple of the ladies who are at UNLV. No, see, some of you don't remember. UNLV got to the Mountain West Finals in basketball and in softball. So it's not like we didn't do anything. We did it in both sports, which was just fantastic. The men's basketball team came close, just not close enough. Women actually went to NCAA for the women's basketball and won the Mountain West for basketball and then won the Mountain West for softball, which is fantastic. Plus, we have the Aces. The Aces, folks, the Aces are just phenomenal. They beat up on the New York Liberty yesterday. I don't know, some of you watched the game? I hope you got to watch the game. It was really early. So while we were doing the show here, the Aces were in New York spanking that booty. Oh, I know I shouldn't say it that way, but that's what they did. They went over to New York 8 o'clock in the morning, East Coast time, the game was broadcast here at 8 o'clock in the morning. When I caught the game, I caught the last couple of quarters. We were already at 100 points by the third quarter. To tell you how devastating it was. All the girls were in double digits. All the starters were in double digits. Asia, Kelsey, Dearica, they were all doing a great job. I'm just excited for the girls. So we've got some great women that are doing some fantastic things. Pick up your copy of Livin Weekly magazine. You can read all about them, plus some other cool things, especially about Sandra there. So let's talk about. Let's go ahead and we can get rid of that. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what is going on downtown. Now, this is really important because a lot of your friends will be coming to Las Vegas. I guess I should get closer to the microphone here. A lot of your friends will be coming to Las Vegas, and when they come to Las Vegas, they want to know what's going on. And since you watch this show, you're miles ahead of everybody already. Some of the stuff you learn upon this show, you will not get anyplace else. You won't get it on the news channels. You won't get it watching some YouTube channel. You're just not going to get it. Because really, I've been here since the 60s, guys. I was here when Las Vegas Boulevard, when the Dunes was on Las Vegas Boulevard. I remember when the Silver Slipper was here. You know, you know, I remember when Circus Circus was built. That's how long I've been in Las Vegas. So I got a wealth of knowledge, and I share it with our listeners all the time. So I'm going to share something else with you. I was I ran for city council back in 2019, so just a few years ago. And when I did, I learned a lot more about the city that I love, because there are plans for the city. They have the 2025 plan, they have the 2035 plan, they have the 2045 plan. So the city planners have mapped out what they think the city is going to look like, which is very smart. Well, the downtown area, the DTLV, has a plan also. And they've got what they want it to look like, what it should look like, what it could look like, that kind of stuff, projections. And a few years back, they started a project called the whole Enchilada. Okay, and it's not like it's not to be confused with a few other things that were in the news lately, but it's a revitalization project, revitalizing the neon signs in the downtown area, specifically down Fremont Street. Okay, so many of you, when you drive downtown, have probably seen a bunch of construction down there, and not just a little construction. I remember when I worked down there in 1995. I was part of the crew that put in the Fremont Street experience. So yeah, I know I got to work on some really cool projects, folks. I was an electrician for about 15 years, and during that time, I got to work on some great projects: the Bellagio, Mandalay Bay, Fremont Street experience, the brand new international gate over at which it was in those days it was McCarran Airport. Now it's Harry Reid Airport, but the new international gate, I got to work on that. What else? Actually, my first job I worked on as a foreman, as an electrical foreman, I was an electrician, was Panorama Towers. So Panorama Towers, there's three of those towers. They're just on the west side of the I-15 near, gosh, what's the name of that street? I forgot the name of the street now. Dean Martin, something like that. But my first job as a foreman, I worked on that. The two towers, actually, we worked on the two towers going to the south. I didn't work on the third one. And then we did a bunch of stuff downtown and everything else like that. Well, anyways, back to the whole Enchilada. The downtown area has got a project down there, and so we're going to talk a little bit about the whole Enchilada. And there was an article, this was actually put out by the city of Las Vegas, and they're explaining the whole Enchilada and what it actually is. And so now you're going to get to know what it is too. Let's put some pictures up there and stuff. Okay, let's put those up there. There it goes. So these, what you're seeing right here on your overhead here, over here, are some of the signs that are downtown that are due to be revitalized. Now this is actually a recent article. So this article was actually put out it was put out yesterday. So it's really recent. But it says basically, envision yourself stepping into Las Vegas downtown of the past, in which the local community is bustling with the opening of varied casinos and motels. As you stroll through beautified areas like East Fremont Street from Las Vegas Boulevard to the 14th Street, your eyes are drawn to signs adorned with striking paint and dazzling neon. Fast forwarding to 2018, many spaces in downtown Las Vegas had visibly expanded and brightened over the years, while others had faded with time. Spaces that were previously teeming with the hustle and bustle of a thriving downtown community were left vacant. Signs that used to light up the night could be found with their paint bleached, by years of sun and neon, burned out by time. And we've probably all seen that, where we've gone through town, we've seen places that look like they probably have seen better days. While the metaphorical light in these spaces is dimmed in 2019 or 2018, the city of Las Vegas and many private stakeholders believe that the radiance of these neighborhoods could be rekindled if only given a spark. But how can you reignite the light in locations so rich with history, and how can you do so in such a way that the local community will be will also believe and add to the brilliance? The city of Las Vegas, alongside with private stakeholders, discovered an answer to these pivotal questions. Project Enchilada, or the whole Enchilada. Project Enchilada is a unique name given to a plan created by the city of Las Vegas and private stakeholders to restore areas of downtown Las Vegas to its former beauty, as well as breathe new life into them. The project is designed to revitalize all the downtown, the whole Enchilada, if you will, but it has a focus on areas on Main Street to Eastern, from the 95 to Charleston Boulevard. That's really key, folks. With a love of history and a respect for Las Vegans, the plan was created to reinvigorate streetscapes with green space, retail restoration, and renovation of iconic neon signs. And so that's what you're seeing here. Is you're seeing some of, I know I shouldn't probably do that. You're seeing some of the signs that they're going to be looking at, and there's a story behind each one of these signs. That's the cool part. Is there's actually there's a story behind each one of these, and that's why these particular signs, these particular structures, these particular institutions are slated to be a part of this project. Now, we talked about this yesterday, where we were talking about certain buildings that were being torn down just recently. Yesterday, or day before yesterday, I guess it would be. They tore down the old mansion. Oh gosh, what's the name of the mansion? Hartley Mansion, and they tore that down. That building was built in the 40s, so it was an old building. It's 22 now, so it was almost a 100-year-old building, and it's a mansion, huge building. It was bought by a guy who owns the Love stores. His name is Lanny Love. And they went through the whole process. They got permitted and everything else, and they tore down that building. Never gave it up to public debate. Historical Society had nothing to do with it. They just went through and just wrecked it. And on this show, here, we're going to take this off for a second here, folks. Hopefully I can get back on because my... So the problem we have here is that, and we talked about this yesterday, was that the city of Las Vegas historically does not have a historical base, not big enough and not important enough to keep going, to keep things going. They don't have a historical society that I know of that is going around looking for buildings that need to be put on a historical register. Now, I'm sure there is, but I don't know of one. Okay, so I'm just saying, and since I know everything and I'm the keeper, I'm the receptacle of all knowledge. I know it sounds really pompous, doesn't it? It is very, it's very tough to say, okay, I'm sorry, Facebook is telling me that people are talking to me and I'm just going on. It is very, good morning, Susan. I'm so sorry I didn't see you there, and I didn't change the thing here. So good morning, Miss Blake. Las Vegas, we talked about this yesterday, needs to really invest in the historical buildings that are still here. And we talked about that. You'll actually see a bunch of it in this week's magazine, Livin Weekly magazine. And we talked about this before, is that you're going to see some of those buildings because it's important. It's not just important because you want to have a bunch of old buildings. It's important for history that you keep some of your historical buildings. If you don't have any history, folks, you might as well be the Middle East. I mean, unfortunately, you've got some places in like Dubai and some other places that they don't care about any of that stuff. They got money, and so they're going to build brand new places, forget the old ways, um, and that's just the way it is. And so, and you cannot continue if you want to be a town with some legs, some roots. You need to preserve the old too, and that's really what I love about the Raiders. I was never a Raiders fan as far as football goes. I mean, I liked individual players growing up, but I was never a Raiders fan because I didn't understand the historical significance of a team like the Raiders. And what they have done is they have brought in what we call legacy. And the legacy that the Raiders bring in, Raider Nation, people who name their kids Raider, kids who name their kid Al Davis, that kind of stuff. Those are not, those are, don't discount those. I mean, really, don't discount those as just fanatics. There are some important things that we can learn from the Raiders, and we can learn from preserving history. If we don't preserve history, folks, we are going to probably if you made a mistake, you're going to repeat those mistakes. But number two, you will forget where you've already come from, and be able to reflect back on that history. So it's really important that we preserve these things. And that's what the Project Enchilada is doing. It is revitalizing a section of Las Vegas that I remember as a kid. Now, once again, I was raised in Las Vegas, so I've been in Vegas since '63. I know a lot of you are looking at, oh my God, '63. Yeah, I've been here since '63. I remember going to music lessons in the downtown area. I remember going to tap dancing lessons, all kinds of stuff, driving up Maryland Parkway. In those days, down near Maryland Parkway and let's say 10th Street, something like that. No, I guess it would be Maryland Parkway. Maryland Parkway and Fremont. So Maryland Parkway and Fremont, there used to be stores on either side of the road there. And my mom there was a beauty parlor down there. I'm just remembering all this stuff now. A beauty parlor was down there. There was all kinds of shops down there off of Maryland Parkway. And now all that stuff has just been bulldozed. I mean, they just bulldozed the whole thing. It's all gone now. Which is a shame. Because even I, who grew up going to those areas, forgot all about them. Just down the street some more, but Maryland Parkway and Charleston, right before you get to Charleston, on the right-hand side of the road, before you get to Charleston on Maryland Parkway, there used to be a place called Mahoney's Music Shop. And many of you who are listening to the show today remember this place. Mahoney's was the drum shop. It was the place you went to get your musical instruments. That was it. And then years later, a place called Vesley's came in. Vesley's was on Charleston Boulevard. Am I going on? I'm rambling. But those two were the places where if you were a strip musician, if you were a kid getting band stuff, that's where you went to. When I auditioned for the Platters, and many of you, I've already told you about this before, I guess I'll tell you some more. When I auditioned for the Platters, I auditioned in Mahoney's drum shop because Chris Mahoney, the son of Mo Mahoney, the owner of Mahoney's, was my guitar player. We were great friends in high school, and him and his brothers and everything else, we were all great friends in high school, and we were in a band. And so Marty Mahoney, gosh, I know I'm going on here. Marty Mahoney, who ran the shop for his dad, he was the oldest son over at Mahoney's. He was running the shop. The people from the Platters came by. They were looking for a singer, and Marty goes, "Hey, my brother's got a band, and their lead singer might want to be your lead singer for the Platters, or one of those singers for the Platters." And that is actually how I got the job as the Platters. It was Marty Mahoney, Chris Mahoney, and brought the band together. I know, this is so funny. We brought the band together, auditioned at the drum shop, and the rest, as they say, is history. And I want to thank Marty for that. I never thanked him for that, but I publicly now thank you, Marty, for that experience in life, because it set the course of my life for the rest of my life here. But anyways, all that being said, all of that stuff's gone now. That whole area is just kind of bulldozed, and they've replaced it, and the drum shop's gone, and it's just I should go down there and check it out. Maybe I'll do that today. But the whole enchilada, let's put those pictures back up there again. Can we do that? Yeah, let's put that back up. The whole enchilada is really an homage to. Is it working? Yeah. The whole enchilada is a restoration of those buildings that have done so much in Las Vegas. I mean, done so much, and I am proud to say I remember each one of these places. I really do. I remember each one of these places because we used to drive by them all the time as a kid, and so they're going to do everything they can to renovate these signs, to bring life back to these people, to this area of town, and a area of town that was once blighted, homeless, faded, jaded. I think you're going to see a reimagining of that area, and a revitalization of that area. So that is just exciting. We will actually post this on our website at livinvegas.com, so you can actually read about the whole enchilada. We will actually post some of these pictures on Livin Weekly magazine, so you can actually see some of the revitalization, because I think this really plays into what we're talking about. Not getting rid of the old, but paying homage to where we came from. And I mean, it's wonderful that we have all these great casinos. Don't get me wrong, folks. It is wonderful that we have all these great casinos and everything. We can let that go now. It's wonderful that we have all of these great casinos, but we cannot forget where we came from. There is a reason why people came here. That's why we're pushing right now the return of cool. So that's Sammy right there. That's Sammy Davis right there, singing. I love Sammy Davis Jr. and the reason why is because he was cool, man. It was just cool. It was Sammy. Had the glasses. Do I even look like Sammy? You know, it was cool. It was Sammy Davis Jr. These were the things that got people to come to Las Vegas. Okay, gambling was fun. It's wonderful. But really, gambling was only part of it. It was the cool factor. You get to come to a place that's in the middle of the desert that just is out of this world. It's dynamite. It's fantastic. It's so cool. That's what Las Vegas is all about, folks. And we want to see a return to that. And there's nothing, once again, there's nothing wrong with the brand new stuff. There's nothing wrong with the huge casinos and everything else. But there was something to be said about the iconic Vegas of the past. You know, the whole retro thing. You know, the whole. My wife has a word for it. The whole, and we were talking about this before. So I'll remember what it is later, probably. But there's something to be said about the iconic Vegas past that we want to see a return to. We want to see a return of cool to Las Vegas. Don't you think? Anyways, folks, if you would like to get a copy of Livin in Vegas magazine, definitely reach out to me at info@livininvegas.com. It's info@livininvegas.com. Or you can just go to our website at livininvegas.com, and you can actually download a PDF copy of it. Also, if you want to get a copy of Livin Weekly magazine with the new stuff this week's coming up right now, it'll actually be out today about 5 o'clock. Definitely send me your contact information to info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com. That's right, you get both of them, Livin Weekly or Livin in Vegas magazine. Either one of them, just send me your contact information, and we will take care of that for you. If not, folks, we will be back again Monday where we'll talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. I'm Sherman Ray, the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, where we love living local and we love the return of cool. We'll see you again next week, folks. Bye bye.